Should we get behind you so we can wave?
No, not necessary. Shahul.
Are we winning?
Hi, Reb. Thank you. Thank you, Reb.
Nice to see you. We're just getting organized here, about to start. Is this your first time in this space on a Wednesday night?
No, I've been there before.
You have been, so you'll remember that we start with anyway. Just got to tune my instrument. It's just been on an aeroplane flight. Not likely to be on tune with different temperatures and air
A lot
pressures.
of tourists to be catered for in Cape Town. Does that keep you busy?
I'm not sure what you mean.
No, maybe you go for gigs. I mean, it's go for a gig.
Oh yeah, I've been a number of times. This time was for family, but we did a gig at my daughter's house.
Okay.
A few people came. It was really special. You'll be surprised to know that the weather is warmer in Johannesburg than in Cape Town.
Oh, that sounds good.
And Cape Town was really pleasant.
Oh, man.
I really like this hot water with the lemon.
It's nice.
You want some more?
And they like to sit together, so maybe you want to sit next to Eddie.
Sure.
To accommodate them. Not now, but when they arrive, or now, whenever you prefer. Okay, we are in tune. We're about to begin. Hold on, let me tune.
We are here.
Okay, welcome, Khibra. Let's just bring this computer screen a bit nearer. Welcome if you're joining us tonight on Facebook live stream. Just so you guys know, we're live streaming to Facebook. Oi da 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 ma ma ma. Ai da 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 da. Ay da 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 ma ma ay da 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 ay oh you know oh you know ya ma ma ay da 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 Oh, oh, you know. Good. Why did I choose that niggin to start? Because I think it's a.
Because it's nearly Sukkot.
I think it's a heck of a special niggin.
Yeah.
It's a niggin that Chabad sings. You may or may not be aware on Rosh Hashanah. You're aware.
I've heard it. You've sung it.
And that's where we're heading. We're in the month of Elul. We're heading for that niggin. We're heading for that space, that atmosphere of reverence in the presence of the King. But we're in a different phase now. The Hakdama for that, the Hakdama always has to have some qualities of the destination. What you're aiming to achieve, those qualities that you're aiming to achieve have got to start showing up now. Otherwise, what's your preparation? You know, they say practice makes perfect. That's wrong. Practice makes permanent. So if you're imperfect, you're going to be permanently imperfect if you keep practicing without embodying the qualities already that you're aiming to achieve. You know, so it works for sport as well. You're practicing your golf swing. Your practices must be like on track, you know, and you must be constantly vigilant that they're not off track. Otherwise, you're going to keep practicing bad stuff.
Ramsden used to say life is not a rehearsal.
Yeah, well, that's arguable. Praise the Lord, you know.
No, in the sense that you're not
This is-
practicing for the next.
Yeah,
thing
this
that's happening
is
now.
yeah. Yeah, no, I fully agree with that. It's about being in the now, 100%, and it is now. I'm just thinking of Hayoim La'asoyser L'mocher L'kabaska. So there's that, but there's both. It's okay. Where are we going to share screen?
He lives in the now. That's all you don't have to worry about the Mazolas.
Mm-hmm.
You live in the now.
Ooh, I haven't launched the Acrobat one second.
What Shabbos?
No,
We'll have what to eat on
Yes.
Shabbos.
I noticed that they put there, I think it's a lenity, an unquiet mind. Is that it?
Yes. You're welcome to take it back.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
Okay, sorry, I'm faffing around trying to get my computer into the space that I needed, and I have not yet launched Adobe Acrobat, which has the PDF of the text we're learning, which enables me to share the screen for those on Zoom and on Facebook Live. So unfortunately the other copies that I printed were removed from the premises
Really?
by somebody who asked for permission for one but not for the second one.
Okay.
Where are we? Anila Doily. Okay.
So what do you do when you're not in shul?
Not responding is not the message I want. I
Have a
want
walk,
response. I
Same.
need to open this. How do we get there?
clean, and listen to YouTube stuff.
Oh wow, it
Yeah.
actually came on the screen. That's
You're not a
beautiful.
waker. You're a learner.
No,
All right.
I'm very rarely in shul. Very rarely. I don't like going to shul. It's not just that I avoid shul usually as much as possible because there's usually somebody who smokes and I don't want to be around smokers.
Good for you.
It affects me.
And it's as well, I suppose it's in South Africa it's uncommon. It's one thing about South African shuls is no smoking.
Okay,
Yeah.
Chevra, let's focus.
No smoking signs either.
Let's focus, Chevra.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad about you guys not having texts now.
Stop feeling bad.
You can share.
Is it going to help for you to feel
Actually, you
bad?
can.
Take a
mm,
picture of it, yeah.
Now can book in.
no, it's not going to help, so I'll let it go. But I regret not
Well,
having
book in,
it.
why not? Take it away.
Okay, I mean, it's an impediment to the communication, but listen carefully and I'll do my best to articulate what the text says. And you can always glance over Ellie's shoulder at any chosen moment. So we're dealing with the verse, the classic verse, which is the Rosh Hashanah of Elul, Ani Ledoidi V'doidi Li. The Rebbe is basically dealing with a very interesting question of why, if we analyze the Moshel. Welcome, brother Akiva. Amen.
You can say bracha as well, as soon as you learn.
Welcome, brother. Okay, so we were just in the beginning stages of summarizing where we're up to. So I'll go back to the beginning. Ani ledoidi v'doidi li, haroye b'shoshanim, is the pasuk in Shir Hashirim, classic verse. Pay attention, guys. And the moshel, the chiddush of the Baal HaTanya, the Alter Rebbe in Likutei Torah, Parshas Re'eh, he brings the analogy of a king is in the field, or the king is in the field. The king is a metaphor for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The king is in the field describes on a physical narrative level, on a pshat level, the marshal of a king who is on his way back to the palace, where he lives in the city, and he's traveling through the countryside, through the field, and the people of the city go and greet him in the field, and he greets everybody cordially, and he smiles at everybody. Two expressions: Makabel is kulam b'sever ponim yofes, umar Elohem ponim soichakos. Two things. He greets everybody cordially, and he smiles at everybody. He shows a smiling face to everybody. And then the marshal continues. Then he's very accessible. He's the marshal, right? In the time of Elul, the king is in the field. I mean, Hashem is accessible in every moment of our lives, in a day-to-day, everyday, work-a-day experience, not in shul or in a holy temple of the Beis HaMikdash or in the palace of the king, where there's protocol. You know, you're in Shmoneh Esrei, you're standing humbly. Here, you're in your overalls. You're in the work world, and he's in our domain, and he makes himself accessible. He's willing to shake your hand and have a chat with you, and you can ask him for things. You know, so there's a beautiful poetic vibe that the Alter Rebbe gives us a sense of, and that associates, of course, with the Yud Gimel Midas HaRachamim, right? Which relates to the Shoshanim. Haroeh b'Shoshanim is the 13 attributes of mercy, because that's how merciful Hashem is. He shows up in Elul in a unique way. There's no protocol. Like wherever you're at in your life, just turn around and greet him, and you can connect. But the wise person gets jolted awake. Wow, I have an opportunity that I've been oblivious to, and this is a time for tshuva. It's a time where you're like, where am I in my life? It's a time for cheshbon hanefesh. It's a time for taking refuge in the words of Torah. All those associations. So it's a time for awakening to our deepest inner compass, and that associates with the muzzle of Virgo. Right? The Virgo is the untainted soul, the soul that is innocent, the child within us, that knows Hashem mamela, of course, the sense of connection and purity of the neshama before we get, what's the word, schooled. We're educated wouldn't be the right word. Right? We get schooled into society's norms, and we lose touch with that. So it's about getting in touch with that inner purity and that inner innocence, with the muzzle of Basula, and it all ties in with the king is in the field. Now, the king goes back to his palace, and that's a metaphor for the normal state of affairs where we don't have access to the king. You need to be in Shmoneh Esrei. You need to be in that in the chamber of the king, the presence of the king. It's not going to happen while you're busy on your computer in the office. In Elul it does. On Elul we are sensitive. We have the opportunity, if we pay attention, to be sensitive to Hashem in every detail of our lives, in the day-to-day, minute-by-minute activities. And obviously the opportunity is to pause and connect, not to ignore it. Yeah. So obviously we must be responsible in maintaining our tasks, but it's a time for also being very devoted to the cheshbon nefesh, taking time out and saying, "Phew, help me understand where I could get to, Ribono Shalom." You know, Avinu Malkeinu, help us get where we want to be. Now, what the Rebbe is asking, the question that I was referring to earlier, is the question of the symmetry of the two states. The king is in the field as a hachona. The king is in the city, in his palace, in his inner chamber, where only Yechidei Segula normally get to see him. And the mashal is, the Rebbe points out that he doesn't stop in the mashal of the destination where the king's going to, with the image of the city. When he's going back to the city, we would understand that he's going back to where he lives in his palace, right? But the mashal is very meduyak, the Rebbe points out, and the Rebbe says he goes a step further and he points out that he goes back to his palace, to the inner chamber, his royal chamber. Now, if we're saying explicitly on the one, so we're talking about two extremes, where the king is not in his normal royal garb and protocol sitting on his throne. He's accessible, and that's one extreme. And the other extreme is in his palace, royal garb, a crown on his head, right? So we would expect to be expressly not in a sadeh, which is a place of cultivation, place of human activity. We would expect the mashal to be in the desert, the midbar, because that's the place of darkness where there's no godliness at all, right? That's the place where it's not fit for human habitation. So that would be a greater chidush if we balance the two. Hashem is in the midbar, and then he's going on to his palace, right? So the answer in a nutshell, where we've got to so far, and we're going to go deeper into this idea, is that the midbar is not fit for human habitation. It's described as a place of loy adam sham. Loy adam means
no people there.
No people there. No people there. And therefore it's a place of hostility and negativity, such as there's no potential really for godliness to settle there. Where is godliness going to settle? In the field where humans are active, because that's our job as Yidden in the world. We're supposed to be Hashem's agents for godliness in the world.
And yet Torah was given in the desert.
It was given in the desert because the desert is a conflicting energy to God's presence in the world. It's there, and it's a place of hostility and negativity. So Hashem does go to the desert, but he's not king. There he is Ishmael Choma. He's fighting against the snakes and the scorpions, the Shalosh Klippas Hatamayos, the three, according to Kabbalah, the three levels of impure klippa. Just to get a handle on the concept of why there's three levels that cannot be elevated. We won't go into the why, but it reflects in the dinim of Orla, the 3 years of fruit, first 3 years of fruit that are forbidden to be consumed by Jews, right? We can't even benefit from them. I think they're Asaba Hana as well, because they correspond to the 3 impure levels. And then there's a neutral level, which is Klippas Noiga, and then there's Kedusha. So Klippa and Kedusha, but within Klippa there is kosher klippa, which can be elevated. Chocolate cake, if it's kosher, can be elevated, provided what? That you don't do it for self-gratification purposes. It's done the Kedusha Shabbos, the Mashal, or Yontif, right? And you're not gluttonous about it. It's like a pleasure to have because Hashem made it too. It's kosher. Or fruit or vegetables, anything that is kosher and can be elevated. Now, our job is to make sure that in the field, which is where we're encountering Klippas Noiga, when we're doing business and all those activities, that's our domain of transforming this world into a dwelling place for Hashem. And by the way, we said that Hashem does appear in the desert where? In the 40 years in the desert, historically, the Aron Kodesh was there, the Shekhinah was in the desert, but not as king, not as Malkeinu. The Melech in the field, the Melech in terms of our daily lives, that's in the field where we're busy. We're not busy in the desert, we're busy in the field. So that's basically where the Rebbe was pointing us in that direction. Okay. So I want to go back a few lines. We're on page
I see something in there.
5 out of 8. So it starts with Hey Vav Zayin Ches Tes, page Tes. Page Tes, it's line 20. We'll go back a couple of lines. Sorry, Daniel, I interrupted you.
We learn that Hashem will dwell in them.
Now, I was going to mention that, yeah, in passing, that Hashem says they must do the mitzvahs, Parshas Truma, amongst the main mitzvahs that we're here to do is V'asu Mikdash. They shall make me a sanctuary. When the Beis HaMikdash stands, Hashem doesn't dwell in it, He dwells in us.
Where the people are.
Yes. So we are walking Mishkanim. Walking, breathing Mishkanim. Amongst other things. Alright, so I'm just going back on page test to a few lines. Let me just pick up the thread here. Okay. Line 13. So as we were explaining, V'davka basode makablim es pnei HaMelech. Are we on the same page? Line 13. V'davka basode, you got that? Yeah. It's davka in the field that we greet the king, not in the desert. But we find in Torah situations where the king does show up in the desert. That's for the purpose of waging war against the enemies, those that are in conflict with him. That's what I said. Got it. You on the?
Over here, that's 13 there.
Am I right about Tess? Hey,
Oh, there, sorry.
You're looking on the side, yeah, the commentary. No, that's not the commentary, it's the main text. Shkoyach for finding it. We're on the same page at last. Okay. So when the king's in the desert, he's not king. He's the warrior. He's the man of war. Umuvan Hashem ish melchama. We say in Oz Yoshua, don't we? Hashem ish melchama. Hashem, yeah, somewhere. Don't know where we say it. Oz Yoshua. Yeah, good. So that's in the time of the desert when they were embarking out of Yetzias Mitzrayim. Umuvan sheloi bo el nimtzoyim shom kadei sheyikablu ponov b'soy melech. So when Hashem is in the desert, He's not present there in order to greet people as king. That's not what He's there for. She'inyan zeh shayach rak kashebo lasode b'medina sheloi. When He's greeting people, when he's informal and He's not playing a specific role, like either a man of war or sitting on His throne as judge of the nation or a ruler of the nation or the spiritual head of the nation, whatever his role is as king, but now He's accessible. He's chummy with everybody. He's, how you doing, Yaakov? How you doing? Yeah. Mordechai, how you doing? First name terms. Yeah. Because that relationship, that kind of interaction is only appropriate in the field, which is within his domain in his country. Because there he's greeting, he's receiving everybody in the role as king, but interestingly enough, in an unusual way of being with people, because he's still a king. It's not that he's not the king anymore. The king is in the field, but he's not wearing his crown and sitting on his throne. He's accessible. Chapter Dalet, that's where we got up to last week. Mamshich Bakosov. So the Rebbe now continues, not the Rebbe, beg your pardon. Shlomo HaMelech in Shir HaShirim continues in the verse, Ani l'doidi v'doidi li, haroyeh b'shoshanim. the shepherd amongst, we translated that as roses, because it fits with the Kabbalistic paradigm of a 13-petaled rose. This particular flower, the mystical Kabbalistic flower that is described in Torah, and it's also a metaphor for the Jewish people, Shoshanat Yaakov, that's the image of the rose, although the literal translation is usually lilies, and you can find that translation in some translations of the Tanakh, but rose is more pertinent in our context. She'inyan hamirehu basore davka, and it's a field where you find a shepherd and a pasture, right? It's a field, it's not a desert and it's not the city. And it relates to sheep. Shebohem yeshna bittul pashat yoiser me'asher eitzel bain la'av sheyochel liyois ba'ofonim shoinim. Very interesting point the Rebbe is making. That as sheep, we are the flock of the shepherd. We are completely bottled to him. The sheep are completely subject to the shepherd's will. They have no will of their own. So that's the idea, is a sheep is docile. Yosem, much more embodying bittul, embodying surrender, embodying humility and surrender to the authority of Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of the king, than the relationship between a son to a father, because that can show up in different ways. Because the relationship of a father to his son is an embodiment of love, as we see in actuality. One can pause just for a moment and recognize that not everybody has that experience in society. The relationship between parents and children are sometimes compromised. And we're all witness to people we know sometimes in our own lives. We can testify to imperfect relationships. The Rebbe is talking about the archetype of a perfect father-son relationship. And we need to be able to meditate and recognize that it exists. And we can be very grateful when it exists in our lives. And if it's not existing, we remain in Golus. It's one of the primary things to fix is family rifts. The relationship, the archetypal relationship of father and son is one of inherent love, affection. And we see examples of that, thank God we do. And that's why we also find in the word ahava that the letters av appear. Father, in other words, the Hebrew word av.
And have, give.
Have and give as well, yeah. So that's another facet of meaning, which is not always positive. Anyway, we won't go down that road, but it's also good because in other words, to be the giver, not to be the receiver. Yeah, I'll tell you what I was thinking. I was coming up Rosh Hashanah, and there's a sikh on Rosh Hashanah where we learn from the Zohar that we mustn't be obsessed with self-gratification on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur when we're asking Hashem for our needs. I want a Ferrari, and I want a Lamborghini, and I want chocolate cake every day. That's not the way, because we like dogs, says the Zohar, that go huff, huff, give. That's what I was thinking of. But here we talk about Avi in the sense of being a giver, which is the key to love. Yeah. Not expecting, but giving, unconditional. By the way, like a father to a son, unconditional love.
The challenge of the king in the field is that he's going to be totally divorced from his what do you call it? Totally
separate from the nation, you mean?
No, just from his Father, he's got to be totally devoid
Bottle,
from
yeah.
Father and from his.
He's got to be the most humble person
Most humble
in the
person.
nation. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's got to carry a Sefer Torah under his arm wherever he goes. Never allowed to leave him.
One of two Sefer Torah.
Yeah.
The one that goes in the field and the one that stays at home.
Yep.
But, he's got to be devoid
Of
and-
Yeshus, yeah, arrogance and self-centeredness, 100%. The king is the ultimate servant. V'yaminu b'Hashem of Moshe Avdoi. Yeah, Moshe played the role of Melech.
He's only allowed to have enough money to pay for his servants, not more.
And these servants are there to serve him, to help him serve Hashem. Not to be served, but to be resources for his service.
He's approachable because he's denuded of his Kaaba. He's totally.
He's always, yeah, but with
totally
Gaiva in the holy sense.
And accessible. In a sense, because of that.
Hashem Gaius Lavesh, he dresses in Gaiva. We talk about Hagaiva v'Hagadula l'chai olamim. We sing it on Shabbos in Chabad. But it's holy Gaiva, it's deserved. It's grandeur, it's the majesty of the king.
In the field, he's actually denuded of that.
Yeah. So when a Yid is a person of royalty, like we are supposed to be, it's not ours. The Gaiva that we embody, Hagaiva v'Hagadula, it's not mine, it's Hashem's. but we're here to display that in the world, to display Hashem's grandeur in the world. We've got to be proud of that. Okay, where are we? כפי שרואים גם בפרק, זהו גם מה שטבע אהב ישנו אוסיוס אהב, last line, end of the line, ואף שאהבה, next page. Who Kilshon Ava, and even though Ava is the etymology, the meaning of give, Ava, Shuhu Inyan, no, Ava is wanting, desiring. Yes, so the same Shurish as Tava, correct. Shuhu Inyan Harotzen, which is will or desire, Harizehu Rotzen Kafi Shuhu Betsiru Shal Midas Ava. It's wanting that shows up in the form of love. Elo shezoyi ava atzmis. Okay. This is a father and a son. So it's showing up in a particular form of love, and it's an essential love which is unconditional. Shezoyi ava atzmis. He's contrasting it with Mak Masha Ein Kain, Roya, a shepherd. That's why we talk about that. What Shir Hashirim, Shlomo Melech says, Haroya Bashashanim. It uses a mashal of a shepherd instead of a father and a son, because the shepherd who oisius Ra'ava, Shuhu Inyan Rotzen, the Aramaic is Rava deriving, Rotzen Shel Rotzen. It's the inner will, it's Pnimis HaRotzen, it's Atik, yeah? It's the fifth level. So shepherd is the Inyan of desire, of wanting, of Rotzen. Ela shezehu kafisha Inyan HaRotzen with the Shon Targum, except that it's translated, it's the Aramaic translation of Rotzen into its Aramaic form, which we can more easily relate to the idea of Rotzen. Ach, Davka. So we're saying shepherd is related to Rotzen, that's the point. Ach, Davka mitzad hiyoise b'lshon targum, but it's specifically being that it's in the Aramaic translation. Harezeh bo'ofen de'es daka ushval ruach. This relates to there's a pasuk from Yeshayahu that Hashem pays attention to the lowly and the lowly of spirit, and the person who's humble and contrite of spirit, daka, poor and of lowly spirit. The humble people is what Hashem loves and pays attention to. Shal zeh ne'emar morim v'kodesh eshkoin, because the pasuk says, on high and in a holy place I will dwell. V'hainu shedavka al yidei habitul harehu magir la'atzmus amuhus. So this is the bittul that we are required to have as the flock of the shepherd. It's through that quality of bittul, of surrender, egolessness, that it enables us to reach the essence of the divine, the essence of Hashem. V'zeh l'seder advarim b'midrash. So this is the order that is.
Well, we are emulating Hashem in a sense.
We're emulating Hashem in a sense, but we're also
The
emulating.
humility, I'm talking about,
Yes.
the negating ourselves and
Hashem negates himself.
ourselves, yeah.
Hashem negates himself. It comes down to our level. Yud Gimel Midas
At the same
Rachamim.
time, we do the same.
We reciprocate 100%. Yeah.
It's a parallel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the onus is on us to use the opportunity. The Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim showing up in Elul means that Hashem is making it easy to access Him. But if we are too doff, too asleep to take the advantage of the opportunity, it's a shot. It's a terrible waste of an opportunity. So in other words, it's mamata lamala. We have to take that initiative. We have to respond to His presence. Yeah, that's the important.
Not totally negate it. In a sense, we're still going to.
We must make effort in
Rosh
it.
Hashanah, all we're doing is making King.
All we're doing, we've got
We're
to.
not going to ask for bakoshes.
We are.
No, we're coronating him.
It's both.
Yom Kippur, we
100%. You're 100% correct. It's a paradox. It's both. We'll go into that subject at a later stage. How we juxtapose both. But think of Avinu Malkeinu,
Yeah, okay.
the soft part of Hashem's relationship with us, and the
Okay.
and the hard. Yeah.
That's the din.
Yeah, correct. It's both, and we're asking for our request. The only pivotal question to ask when we're asking for our request, and this goes for our davening every day, is why are you asking for it? You want to know why I'm asking for it? Because I want to serve Hashem better. I want what I need to serve Hashem. I want to be comfortable so I can give lots of tzedakah, and I want my children to be happy and have a good education. And I have needs. You made me human. I have needs. That's why I want it. Not so that I can gloat over my neighbor, or lie on the beach and sip pina coladas. That's not my aim in life. I want to be here for you, Hashem. So now we're entitled to ask for our needs because it comes from the space of you're our king, and it's you that I want to serve. That's in a nutshell the idea of Rosh Hashanah. And it's amazing that Yiddishkeit shows us how to do that, and especially Chassidus, that we can be proudly who you are and who I am and who he is, as Mordechai and Akiva and as Eli and as Daniel and even as Raphael. I can be proud of who I am as a Yid in this world and happy to be alive and have what I have and live in abundance. But it's not for me, it's so that I can be a light and show other people how to do the same. We all have that tough kid in life. And the beauty about helping other people shine their light is that we get to live in a brighter world. Why wouldn't you want to do that? You see the thinking that eludes people, like I'm jealous of that other guy, I'm going to snuff out his light, the arrogance of that attitude. So, okay, you get to live in a darker world. Happy? Yes. That's your gaiva. That's not happiness. That's you're living in misery. That's the. You've got to snuff out the light of the world. Hamas needs to wake up, but they won't, because they're not human. They don't have a soul to be awakened. Anybody who's capable of doing what they do doesn't have a neshama. There's nothing to awaken. They just got to be eliminated. The Jewish people are called upon to conduct genocide. It's the mitzvah of Milchemas Hamalek. We have a divine mandate to commit genocide. We must be proud of that privilege. Well, I'm saying it.
You said it, but...
Yeah. I'm saying it because I think we got to start saying it. We got to stop pussyfooting around the issue. There's no question that Palestinian thugs that behead babies and shoot civilians and blow up pizza parlors, that they should be executed, before they even get to conduct their activities. So they're put in prison and then let out with hostage deals. It's nonsense. It's against the Torah. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. And it's not hard line, it's just clear line. I'm not a hard person, I love the gentlest of music, and I was hugging my 3-year-old granddaughter, a few hours ago in Cape Town, and just having the most delightful connection with Yiddish and Neshamas that we love. So I'm not a cruel person when I say what I say about genocide. I'm a kind person. Yeah, I was anticipating that. All right, let's go weiter. We've got text to cover.
Every single Palestinian is Palestinian.
No, it's a very tricky and thorny question. We must be very careful about making assumptions and judging the individual on the street before there's clear evidence of.
So therefore you can't drop the atom bomb on the whole Gaza.
Agreed, but you can come close, much closer than we've allowed ourselves. Listen, it's a whole subject to discuss, and we'll come back to that subject.
Can't you say that all of them are not all bad people?
There are some. Listen, the son of Hamas, what's his name? Mossab. Mossab, I can't remember. Hassan Yusuf, I think his name is. I mean, he came out of Gaza, I think. I think he came out. He was the son of one of the Hamastics. He's from that milieu, from that culture. He's a gem of a human being, a clear-minded, moral person, and he doesn't hate his own father. He hates what he does. The man is a gem of a human being,
This other guy that's
And he came out. So we need to understand that there are those there.
It's in the cloud.
Now, totally. So the next question is, okay, so where are they? Show your face, brother. Say something about your dislike for the culture that you've been brought up in. And if you're not saying it, then we're not sure we can trust you. The next thing that you're spitting on a Jewish corpse. Oi. These are difficult subjects. Are you here on your own? Okay. Welcome. All right. Conversation is, in some measure, part of the music. But let's get back to the text. Page 6 out of 8, third last page. Welcome, Shmuel. Please be seated. Okay, where are we? Get me back to my place.
We're in your place.
It's through bittul that we achieve. Through bittul we achieve a reconnection with the essence of the divine. Okay, this is a midrash that we touched on earlier. There's a midrash which says, I am a father to him. Sorry, he is a father to me and I am a son to him. And after the mention of the father and the son relationship, what's going on with this? Okay, can we get it finished? What's going on? Okay, it's a long bracha. It could have been said in a place which wasn't disrupting the rest of the shir, but we'll tolerate it. V'zehu seder advorim b'midrash שבתחילה נאמר הוא לי לאב ואני לו לבן ולאחרי זה מוסיף עניינה ליוסף הוא לי לרועה ואני לו לצאן. There is a midrash which says he is a father to me, I am a son to him, and then it goes a step up and it says he is a shepherd to me and I am part of his flock. כי מצד הביטול דצוין מגיעים לבחינס העצמוס כפי שהוא מצד עצמו, because it's a step up when we're a flock, not as a son, but as a flock of sheep. In that relationship, the bittul is more profound, more profoundly embodied. Right? So that's the relevance of Aroya B'Shoshanim, a shepherd amongst the roses. And mitzad habitul, Ditzoyin, because of the bittul of that is in the archetype of being a sheep or a flock of sheep, we reach the essence of the divine, as it is in itself. Beyond any particular role as you would describe a father role to a son, because the man who's my father is not only playing the role of a father to me as his son, he's also playing the role of an employer to the people that he employs in his job or in his business. He's also a wife to my mother. Yeah, he's got different roles in the world. He's a brother to his siblings, etc., etc. Right? And he's a partner to somebody on the tennis court. Right? So he has different roles. But when we're talking about him, when I'm relating to him as an individual, that is most powerfully expressed in the relationship of flock to the shepherd, because that's the essence of who he is, not in a particular role of a father which is in a certain sense limited. So there's a relative relationship, and we're on the same footing. We're part of the same family constellation, father and son. But a flock and his shepherd, there's such a distance that the sheep are nothing in relation to the shepherd. Paradoxically, the shepherd is devoted completely with everything that he does is for the sheep. Okay, that's the subject of Bittul. When we move on to chapter 5, we say, so in this context, we have the pasuk in Shir Hashirim, the shepherd amongst the roses. Because in the field the flock has grass, herbs. But here we're talking about flowers which are generally cultivated. But never mind the cultivated aspect. The distinctive feature of the flower that the Torah calls a shoshana, a rose, has 13 petals, 13 petals. So that corresponds, Keneged Shloisha Osir Mechilin the Rachamei, the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim, the 13 attributes of divine mercy. Shehem Hamizgalim Beresh Chodesh Elul, and those attributes of compassion, of mercy, of divine mercy, are what get revealed on the first day of Elul.
So in connection to 13 being bar mitzvah, connected to 13 attributes.
I've never thought of that number of connection with bar mitzvah. That's a very interesting question. It's certainly directly related and parallel to the Yud Gimel Midas Shetorah Nidreshes by him. There's a complete parallel with that.
With the Rachamim.
Yeah, with the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim, correct. We can bring about how that might apply to bar mitzvah. It's an interesting question. So here we're talking about the 13 petal flower, connected the 13 attributes of mercy, Shahem Miskalim, because that's what's revealed on the first day of Elul and shines through the whole month, obviously. The whole concept is Shebishloish Esrei Midos. Harachamim Gufa Yesh Shloish Ophonim, because in the 13 attributes of divine compassion, divine mercy, themselves, there are 3 modes of how they express themselves. Because even through the rest of the year, we say every day, in fact, when it's not Shabbos and Yom Tov, we say Vayavor Hashem al Ponov Hashem. That's the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim, yeah? Hashem passed in front of Moshe, who was hidden in cleft of the rock, Pashas Kisiso. And he said the 13 attributes of mercy, Hashem, Kael, Rachum, V'chanon, etc. Umaskirim Shlosh Esrei Midos Harachamim Aval Zehu. He mentioned, Hashem said those words, Aval Zehu Rak Kafi She'ahem Bebechenes Chitzoenias HaMalchus. But that's only on an external level of Malchus, Malchus being the sphere of God revealing Himself. V'ilu B'chodesh Elul. But on Chodesh Elul is a different kind of revelation of the 13 attributes of mercy. It's not the external aspect of Malchus. Ve'ilu b'chodesh Elul me'irim shloish esrei midas harachamim. Whereas in the month of Elul, the 13 attributes of mercy show up, kafi shehem b'fnimius hamalchus d'Atzilus, as they are not on the external aspect of Malchus. So we're talking about Malchus of Atzilus, Malchus of the highest world, the world of pure divinity, the divine attributes, the 10 spheres, the lowest of which is Malchus. And the sphere of Malchus is how Hashem reveals himself. And Malchus has an inner aspect and an outer aspect. During the normal weekdays of the year, so the rest of the days of the year, Hashem is showing up in the external aspect of Malchus, the superficial aspect of Malchus. In the month of Elul, we are shown the internal, the pnimius of Malchus, of Atzilus. God is showing up in a more deeper, more transparent way. וזהו גם שהמשוך השלוש עשרה מידות הרחמים שבכל השונה הם רק הרחמנוס על חיי הגוף. And this also tells us that what comes down into the world of the 13 attributes of mercy throughout the year, that's only a compassion and a mercy regarding the life of the body, our physical body. Aval shloish esrei midos rachamim hameirim b'chodesh Elul, but the 13 attributes of mercy which show up in the month of Elul, now this month, heim harachamim al chayei nefesh, that's mercy for the life of the soul, not of the body but of the soul. Ki hisgalus shloish esrei midos rachamim sheb'chol hashana hi meb'chinas chitzonius hamalchus shenikras gufa. Because as we've been saying, the revelation of the 13 attributes of mercy throughout the year, that is on the level of the external aspect of Malchus, which is called body, Gufa in Aramaic. Aval be'elul, but in the month of Elul, she'oz his galus shloish esrei midos harachimim l'chayei neshama harei zeh mib'chinas pnimius hamalchus d'Atzilus. This is the inner aspect of Malchus of Atzilus. So it's a much more godly emanation of God's presence. Omnom kol zehu adayin b'chinas hamalchus, but all of it remains the level of Malchus. Shenikres sodeh. Malchus is equated with the field. Ulamayle mizeh haim shlosh esrei midos harachamim hanimshochim imizgalim b'yom kippurim. But the highest level of the three is the way the 13 attributes of mercy show up on Yom Kippur. Shezehu kafi she'amalchus oila ad hakeser, because that's not the external aspect of Malchus, certainly not. It's not even the inner aspect of Malchus. It's Malchus as it ascends to the level of Keser. Keser Malchus, the crown of the system. Malchus by default is at the bottom of the chain of the spheroids. It's the feminine sphere which receives all the potentialities from the upper spheres, which are characterized in general as masculine energies coming down into Malchus. But Malchus is also, it's like Ashes Chayil is Malchus, right? It's the collective Jewish soul. But Ateret Baila, the Malchus is also the Keter, the crown on top. Yeah, because she makes the will of her husband by receiving graciously from him and directing him what to give her, right? If he's conscious, he knows what to give her. He knows how to provide for her needs so that she can become the Hekeres Abayis and bring up a Jewish family. Then that is the fulfillment of the potential of her Baal. So she's the crown of him in that sense, because she brings out his potential. So that's the way Malchus is directly connected with Keser, and that's the level of Malchus, the Keser level of Malchus, which she really is in her essence, is what's revealed on Yom Kippur.
He's talking about Shechina is revealing in Malchus, and then all those high levels like Keser.
Keser Malchus, the two are synonymous, they're not different. If you look in Seder Ishtalshelus, Malchus d'Atzilus is Keser Labria, as you go down in the sequence, the Malchus of each world is the Keser for the next world. So Malchus knows about Keser, it knows how to be Keser as well. And it also, because it connects ultimately with the ultimate Keser.
So the ultimate case is the crown of Hashem.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Keser Malchus.
So we have to emulate Hashem in that sense that
We
to deserve our crown, we have to be like him.
Correct.
The end is always in the beginning.
Exactly. Yes. Yep. Okay. So Yom Kippur is the pinnacle of the revelation of the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim. How they show up when Malchus ascends to the level of Keser. Line 11. Second last page. One more subtlety in the understanding of a shepherd among the lilies. I'm using the word lilies by default. The shepherd among the roses. You don't eat roses. The main purpose of eating is for the body. The rose, one can speak to herbalists who'll tell you what healing properties exist in roses, but we know the fragrance is very healing, at least that. So the main thing is that it's associated with healing. Okay, so I'm reading it slightly wrong. It's also part of the body, because the body needs healing, right? But it's a more subtle and refined level for the body. It's higher than eating. Okay. But the main function of the flower of the rose is to impact the soul. But because for a Yid there's an inherent bond, a connection between the body and the soul, V'gam haguf hu guf kadosh, which means that also the body has an inherent sanctity, a holiness, a kedusha. We are a goy kadosh and meleches kohanim. Yeah, we are a holy people. Our physical manifestation, our bodies are holy. Harizeh poyel refuah gam ba'aguf. So this attribute of the 13 attributes of mercy affects also a healing for the body. And this connects with the month of Elul, excuse me, because at this time we are engaging in the avodah of Teshuvah. We spoke earlier at the beginning about Elul is the time to get in touch with our deepest inner compass. I also find it very hard to ignore what's going on there. It's very distracting, isn't it? Because tshuva is directly associated with refuah. As the sages tell us, that great is teshuva because it brings healing to the world. Okay. That's chapter 5. So we're getting a picture of Elul. We're getting a picture of the incredible depth and opportunity that Elul gives us. That teshuvah is made available, the opportunity to do teshuvah, without extraordinary effort. We can achieve great things. We can achieve great awareness. We can get in touch with our deepest inner compass in a way that is much easier than at other times of the year. And okay, I was thinking in my own life. There's certain things in halacha that I am a little bit lax on. Bishul akum, for example. There are times when and I don't have to be lax. I'll be much more present as a yid in the world and more solid with my backbone if I pay attention to those details. This is about self-discipline. It's about being the strength that we need to be. So that's one example for me that just came in my davening this morning. I was kind of just thinking, phew, this little. So that's one example, little things that I could be more attentive to.
Do you think that paying attention to certain things is going to detract from other things that are also important?
If it does, then you got it wrong.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting question that you raise. It mustn't. We'll talk more about that. Let's finish the Maimon because we're less than a page away. Page, Ois Vav, line 21. V'zehu ani l'doidi, second last page. V'zehu ani l'doidi v'doidi li aroya b'shoshanim. So now we're in a position to fully understand the whole verse. I am for my beloved and my beloved is for me. The shepherd is among the roses. Shezehu inyona shel chodesh Elul. This is the whole concept of the month of Elul. Sheboim is galim mishloish esrei midas arachamim, because it's the month in which are revealed the 13 attributes of divine compassion, mercy. Elo shehagilu b'chodesh Elul hu kimshal hamelech basodeh. But in Elul, the 13 attributes of Hashem's mercy show up in a unique way, and the marshal for how they show up is like the kings in the field. But it's not going to stay like this. Yom Kippurim, we're heading for Yom Kippur, the 10th day of the coming month. That's the ultimate perfection of the revelation of the 13 attributes of mercy, as there are revelations of Keser, the divine essence, the divine will in its purity. Va'ad sheboim lisvilas ne'ilah, because then we come to the prayer of Ne'ilah, which is the unique prayer of Yom Kippur, the 5th prayer. Right? On Shabbos and Yom Tov, Rosh Chodesh, we only daven one Musaf prayer, an additional prayer, making it 4. We add a 5th prayer on Yom Kippur, Yom Shenischayav Boi Chamesh Tfilos, the day on which 5 Tfilos are an obligation. That Lashon is very profound. I'm just digressing for a moment in parenthesis here to understand the profundity of Yom Kippur. It's the Yechida Shebenefesh, it's the highest level of the soul. That's where we're heading. It's the Kodesh HaKadoshim, right? Once in a year, Achas Bashana. And what's important to understand about that is that when Yechida shines, then all other levels are shining. So that's why the Lashon is Yom Shenischayav Boi Chamesh Tfilos. It's a whole day of Yechida. It's not that we have to wait till Ne'ilah to connect with the Yechida of the Nefesh to the highest level.
So that's Yom Kippur?
Yom Kippur is Yom Shenischayav Boi Chamesh Tfilos. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's when the 13 attributes of divine mercy show up on the level of Keser. That's the divine essence revealing itself in the fullest way. Because then the children of Israel are together with the king. So the fear of a chassid, that the whole world interprets the gates are closing for Ne'ilah, yeah? We've got to make sure that we don't get left behind outside. Mm-hmm. The CHASSIDUS makes us focus on a different thing. No, why are the gates closing? Because we are together with the king. It's just us and him. No one else is allowed. We're in with him. Not that we're rushing to make sure we don't get left outside. The whole day we're with him. We're already with him. But now it's exclusive. I and the king are alone. Last page. And we proceed from that to the joy. When all joy breaks out. I'm going to be in 770 this year, please God.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Bezras Hashem. I'm looking forward to it. That's the climax of all the Chagim. And Simchas Torah. In Eretz Yisrael it's rolled up into one day. In Chutz La'aretz it's rolled out into 2 days. Same energy. V'chol zeh nimshach achar kach al kol hashana. And the whole purpose of it all, this is such an important thing that the Rebbe emphasized again and again, that it's not just that we have an experience and then we go home to our ordinary day life. No, take that into every day in the coming year. That's the whole idea. All right, we're going to play it with a nigun and then we can bring for a few minutes.
Isn't it a good thing to try and leave the past and the past and move forward to the future?
you've got to tear up all the files, all the cases.
Okay.
That's probably got 5 cases.
And even past will take the lessons.
By the way, I just want to apologize to people online. It looks like, I may be wrong, but it looks like I neglected to share screen when there was probably...
Yeah, there was no screen.
Okay, I apologize. All right, if that you could have interrupted to say, did you mean to share screen? I would have, well, that would have been supportive. If you noticed it, I would have liked to know that, because I could have rectified it. Okay, apologies for that. I just landed from Cape Town. I had to reboot my PC with very little time. Anila doidi, Anila doidi, doidi, Aroye, Bashoshani. Bashoshani.
Sure,
Yeah, we need music in our lives, Trevor.
Yeah.
We must be dancing in the field with Hashem. So,
If you don't make an impression on Hashem, then you don't book your appointment for the palace.
that's it. Yeah. Won't recognize you when you show up at the door. Like, who are you? As opposed to, oh, welcome. It was so nice chatting in the field. Chevra, online, Zoom and Facebook Live, I bid you a good evening wherever you are in the world, as long as it's in a nighttime zone. If it's in the daytime zone, good afternoon. Be well, be blessed. Shaul, I see your greeting. Thank you for that.
Sunrise, have a good day.
And we'll be in touch. Thank you, Ricky, for joining us. We'll be same time, same station next week, next Wednesday night.